Happy Thursday, class. I wanted to cover my Thursday check-in in a video and just make sure everybody is feeling good about this assignment as we start. So let me put my glasses on, make sure I can read. All right, so we are continuing to work on the rhetorical situation this week. In my Monday memo, I introduced the rhetorical situation, but I want to talk a little bit more about it because your homework is addressing the different aspects of the components of the rhetorical situation. So remember, we define rhetoric as the ability in a particular case to identify the means of persuasion. And I have the particular case in all caps because that's important. The audience does a lot of the driving of how a text gets created, the choices that an author or creator makes of a text. And so audience is, of these 5 components, let me scroll up a bit. So we have the author, we have the text, creates the text for an intended audience, for a purpose. And that purpose could be to sell something, it could be to a call to action, to create change. That purpose is the reason why the speech or text or ad gets created. But the audience definitely drives the choices that the author makes when creating that text. So as you look forward to working with your print advertisement, you want to think about who is my intended audience. Your discussion board that's due on Sunday asks you to start to break down your intended audience. Now I want you to remember that your advertisement is not floating around in space independent. Your advertisement you found in a print magazine, which is why we want this to be in a print magazine. The purpose of that is so that you can have a very specific audience. The audience of your ad is the person who buys that magazine. So the person who's buying that magazine is it's a fairly easy thing to start to determine that. You can start to break that down and analyze who bought Car and Driver, who bought Southern Living, and there are various ways, and that's part of what we're going to start working on as you do some of your worksheets. But the audience for that ad inside the magazine is whoever purchased that magazine. Okay, so the other concept that I introduced in this mini lesson is the rhetorical appeals. So we've got the rhetorical situation, which is the place where all of the persuading happens. You've got the creator, the text, the audience, the purpose. So once you've determined as a creator who your audience is, now you've got to think, well, what tools do I have to persuade them? Those are what we call the rhetorical appeals. These are the tools of persuasion. So we've got logos, ethos, and pathos. Logos appeals to logic, fact, statistics, reason, all of that's measurable stuff. Ethos appeals to the credibility. It could be appealing to the credibility of a doctor or a professor or a firefighter or a policeman. Then pathos appealing to the credibility of, or appealing to emotion of all kinds. So it could be, happy, sad, but it could be pity, it could be hunger, it could be anger, any of these emotions. And I have a little graphic here that explains the 3 different appeals. So for your homework, you are going to have to choose your magazine and the ad within that magazine. You're going to take a picture of each. You can use your phone. You upload that picture file to discussion board, and you're going to answer some questions about both the magazine and the advertisement. So I need them both in there. Then you're going to go and comment on 2 of your classmates. So let's go ahead. I'll do one last thing before we wrap it up, wrap the video up. Let's click into week 5. This is what was due last night, and this is what's due on Sunday. Your chosen ad with the magazine cover and the initial appeals. So you're going to post your ad, you're going to post a copy of your magazine, you're going to explain what's the subject of the ad, who do you think the intended audience is, and why do you say that? Again, remember, the intended audience is not just thinking about the ad, it's thinking about the magazine. Who bought that magazine? Who generally buys Southern Living or Glamour? Then state which of the 3 appeals you think is the main rhetorical appeal being used, and then finally respond to 2 of your classmates. Then, the final thing, you are going to start to analyze, for your reading response next week, a speech given by former President Reagan in 1986 when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. So this right here is a little background to give you context, and then this is the transcript of the speech, and here is a YouTube link to the video of the speech. And when week 6 opens, you'll see your reading response questions. All right, so any questions, give me an email, give me a call.